I haven't done one of these in a long time, but let's do a book haul. So recently I've either ordered books or gone to Half Price Books that I've gotten a lot of books. I've gotten an influx of them recently, so there's enough here to do a little bit of a haul, so let's do it. First and foremost, let's start with these. What Lies Beyond the Veil, 1, 2, and 3. We got the series here. So the second book is What Hunts Inside the Shadows and What Lurks Between the Fates. Now these I got from Half Price Books. And actually, it was one of those things where I was walking to the checkout with my other books and I happened to see them. I was like, oh wow, the whole series, I've really wanted to read that. But I haven't gotten around to it, but I'm getting enough, so I probably shouldn't get these. And then my husband sneaked away and bought the 3 of them for me. And then surprised me as we were walking out to the car, like, by the way, here you go, and gave me all of them. So, Half Price Books find. Very happy with this because I have heard great things about this series. I really have. I hope it doesn't disappoint. I can't wait to read them. And if you don't know anything about the series, this is like a Fae series where there's this veil between the Fae and mortal lands, and for whatever reason, the veil is gone, destroyed, something happens, and now the Fae and humans are able to interact, and people are finding their mates. At least I think that's what the premise is. Obviously, I haven't read it yet. Also, another Half Price Books find is this. Twisted and Scarred by Emily McIntyre, which she's the author of Hooked, which these are part of that series, and I have every other book in that series. I have Hooked, I have Wretched, but I was missing these 2, and they happen to have them, and they look like they're brand new. They look brand new, so of course I snatched them up. They were like $8.99 a piece. Super stoked about this, which all of those books fall under the Never After series, so it's kind of like a Peter Pan retelling, like in that world. Adult romance as well. Speaking of adult romance, I actually got this from Book Outlet when they were doing their $5.99 fiction sale. So I have purchased from Book Outlet for their $5.99 fiction sale multiple times, and they always have Katie Robert books. And I've read a few of her books and I really liked them. Like, this is part of the Dark Olympus series, and though I haven't read the entirety of the series, I have read the first couple books in it and I liked it, so I'm like, I'm gonna try and get all of those books in that series. And so this was just another one that I was missing because every time they do it, they always have Katie Robert, so I usually almost always buy the other books by her that I don't have, and this was one of them. $5.99, such a steal. Which, if you are unfamiliar with the Dark Olympus series by her, it's essentially Greek mythology retellings where the Greek gods are love interests and stuff. Like, it's a whole thing. Now this, I also got from the Book Outlet $5.99 sale. However, I know very little about this book. I'm gonna be honest. I do in fact judge a book by its cover, and I purchased this because this cover is beautiful and it came with this really, really pretty sprayed edge as well. And so that's why I bought this. And also the title, The Stars Are Dying, that intrigued me. And that's why I bought it. So I know all the other books, I had something to say about them, about the premise, about the world, the series, something. I honestly know next to nothing about this other than this seems like it's right up my alley, so I took a chance on it. If you have read it, let me know if I made a good decision in buying this. Now, one thing about me is I enjoy reading books, but I also enjoy collecting. I always feel weird when people ask me, oh, do you just collect books or do you actually read them? Like, I have read a lot of them on my shelves, but there are definitely some that I've purchased more for the collector purposes than anything else. And let's get into those books. This is a Dear America book. I read the Dear America books when I was a little girl. I really, really love them. And I intend to fully reread all of them eventually. I've started rereading some of them, but if you know anything about Dear America, you know there's a lot of books. So I'm not through all of them. But in doing this, I am also on the hunt to have a completed set of all of them in hardback. And that includes the old versions with their old covers and these new covers. So I already owned this Voyage on the Great Titanic in the original cover, but I did not own it in this cover. So now I have this to add to the collection. Because at this point, I'm over 50%. I'm probably like 80% done. I'm just missing like the last couple. But I'm getting there. I'm really getting there. And one more down. I also got this from Half Price Books. For whatever reason, Dracula and Frankenstein, those classics have always, always, always interested me. And basically, whenever I see a book that has a beautiful cover, when it's in either Dracula or Frankenstein, there is a good chance I will get it. I love the size of this book. It's so small. It has these beautiful edges, and it's so pretty. I really liked it. I really liked it, and so I got it. It was like $6. Now, why Dracula and Frankenstein specifically? Well, there are so many classics out there, I simply cannot financially do that to all of them. And I have always loved like the idea and concept of the classical monsters, so Dracula and Frankenstein shot up to the top. And also occasionally if I can find a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with a cool cover, I'll get that as well. Those are like my 3. Whereas all of the other classics I intend to own just 1 copy of. Because I can't be crazy about all of them, that'd be ridiculous. Another thing about me is I'm really big into mythology, fairy tales, folklore, that whole special interest. I'm into it. And therefore I have a lot of books about mythology, fairy tales, etc. When really do I need that many copies of all these different niches of those mythologies and fairy tales? No, I don't necessarily need them, which is why it's more of a collection. And this is to add to that collection because I did not have this version of the fairy tales from the Brothers Grimm. I didn't have this one. So this is to add to the other fairy tale books I own. Plus, it was on clearance for $3 at Half Price Books. Another clearance find, and to also kind of go with my collecting, is this. So I guess in addition to mythology and fairy tales, I'm also interested in like the classical monsters, supernatural, things like that. And so vampires do in fact fall into that category. And again, being a $3 clearance find, of course I snatched it right up to add to my collection. I have always just found the stories revolving around mythology, revolving around supernatural creatures and monsters and mythical beings just absolutely fascinating. And so my bookshelf will in fact continue to grow as I find more books that go along with my special interests. But that's my haul. These are the books I got recently. I'm very excited. I just wish I had more time to read them all. Too many books, not enough time. But that's the problem we all have, huh? Well, if you've read any of the books I've shown you, tell me about them. Did you like them? Did you not like them? Are they your favorites? Let me know. Depending on what some of you might say, it might entice me to read one of them over anything else, because I'm for sure a mood reader, and it does not take a lot to convince me. However, the circumstances have to be right, you know what I mean? So like if I see just like this perfect TikTok that is promoting a book very well, and it happens to pique my interest, I will leave that app, go directly into Amazon if I don't already own the book, and buy the Kindle version so I can just start reading it immediately, because that's the type of reader I am. So if I got a comment that convinced me of any of these, I would stop exactly what I'm doing to start them immediately. That's how I work. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.